Fourth round in the Deep Tech Startup Competition here at Deep Tech Atelier. Welcome to the Deep Tech stage from Riga, Latvia. My name is Artis Ozoliņš, and I welcome back also all my friends in the jury panel. Pleasure to see you all here. Thank you for your strength and your endurance. Nice to see you all smiling. And we're continuing. It's 4 o'clock, so it's the fourth round here in our competition. And we have five more teams. The rules are the same: 4 minutes for presentation and 3 minutes for questions and answers. And who are we starting our round with? With Mission Space from Latvia, presented by Ksenia Moskalenko, a global prediction space weather system that is designed to be used as a decision support tool to detect and predict space weather events for any affected industry. Let's listen to their pitch presentation.
Hi everyone, my name is Ksenia. I'm CEO and co-founder of Mission Space, and we're building a global predictive space weather system. Let me bring you back to the day that the sun brought darkness to the province of Quebec in Canada, where the city experienced a 12-hour clinical death. 9 million people were left without the electricity. A $10 million transformer was permanently damaged. Airports, railways, and Toronto Stock Exchange was shut down for hours. A 2-minute geomagnetic storm resulted in 28 million of economic losses, which would nowadays translate to about 2.4 to 3.4 trillion if that event were to happen again. Since then, several governments have listed severe space weather as one of the highest priority natural hazards. We have dramatically increased our dependence on technology and the internet, but haven't made a major step towards preventing incidents like Quebec. So is not now the time to widely acknowledge that space weather forecasting matters more than we used to think? Different systems are exposed to varying levels of risk depending on their technical design, location, and the type of space weather that can affect them. Aviation, power system, satellites, and supply chain are most vulnerable to space weather, where the symptoms range from disrupted avionics system to power blackouts and grid collapse to loss of GNSS navigation and positioning. As per current solution, most of the existing space weather satellites have been launched more than 15 years ago and are operating well beyond their anticipated lifespans. They are expected to fail before the replacement is launched. What we offer is a global predictive space weather system that is designed to be used as a decision support tool to detect and predict space weather events for any affected industry. We plan to operate as an API-integrated platform with live updates, hazard warning system, scenario modeling and forecast, as well as industry insights to discover the impacted systems. We plan to be a space weather data distributor to space agencies and government institutions, and also have a subscription-based warning system with actionable insights for energy companies, airlines, or satellite operators. This is the core of the innovation, the state-of-art satellite Payload that was designed by Mission Space engineers, and it is responsible for the measurement of critical space weather parameters such as the geophysical data, as well as high-energy particles of protons and electrons. In the future, we plan to have around the globe forecast system with 24 nanosatellites on low Earth orbit with detectors on each board, and this unique system will allow us to have a real-time high-energy particle geophysics data and real-time prediction of solar plasma arrival and intensity. Our space weather system will help insurance companies save millions on premiums and claims. For power grids, flags the risk of blackouts and power outages. For airlines, cut losses on rerouting flights. And for satellite operators, advise to take action to mitigate the risk of service interruptions and satellite failures. This is the round announced. We're looking for 570,000 K to have a 1-year runway, receive lab test certification, but then launch 2 hosted payloads and obtain in-orbit demonstration and flight heritage. We're heavily supported by the leading European institutions such as DTU Space, the Arctic University of Norway, and have received commercial interest from McKinsey Intelligence Services, UP42, Space Science, and etc. We have the payload prototype built, signed several MOUs and letters of intent, and completed several accelerators, are looking to obtain flight heritage in late 2021, and perform our first beta test by early 2022. This is our amazing team. We have both the digital innovators and satellite engineers who have more than 70 years combined in the field of space weather. We also have Frank Jansen from DLR joining our advisory board. And for us, Earth is only a start. Thank you so much, and I'm open to any questions.
Thank you to Team Mission Space, and we welcome Ksenia on our deep tech stage. Thank you for the presentation. And right now I'm turning to my jury panel. 3 minutes are yours, and Voldemars, you're up.
Hi, Ksenia. Thank you for the presentation. May I ask, have you raised any investment so far? You mentioned you participated in 4 accelerators as well.
Yes, thank you very much for your question. All those accelerators were actually equity free. So it was just an educational program. We're so far self-invested. And in terms of the seed round, it was just open. So we haven't really raised any commitments yet.
Thank you. Next up, it's Ben.
You mentioned that you have a prototype payload constructed. So that's your IP, that's, well, how do you describe it? How do you characterize that as an asset?
Absolutely, great question. In terms of IP, we currently have the IP pending on our critical technologies, those payloads, as well as its algorithms of work.
All right, thank you. We have 2 more minutes, please. Shoot with your questions. All right, Anna.
Yes, hi. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit more about the competitors. So about comparing you to the current services that your potential customers use at the moment.
Great question. So in terms of our competitors, our main competitors are actually our potential partners, because currently space weather is being targeted only by federal and national agencies. So in the future, we plan to be a supplement tool for them. And in terms of commercial space weather, so far we are one of the only companies that's currently on the market.
All right, next up it's Dora.
Hi, thank you so much for this presentation. Very interesting tech indeed. So my question would be about the partners. So whom are you collaborating with right now?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dora, for your question. In terms of partnerships, we do have interest from those European institutions like the Denmark Technical University, the University of Coimbra, who are interested in getting our data. And as soon as we obtain the flight heritage, we will start our actual collaborations. And in terms of the other commercial interests, we do have insurance companies and geospatial data marketplaces that want to start using our data as soon as we launch our first payments.
We have just the time for the question from Ben.
I mean, your costings tell us that the economics of launching satellites has been revolutionized. So what really are, given that's true, what are the barriers to competition?
Also a good question. So in terms of the satellite launching costs, they have been definitely lowering, and we will be using the shared satellite service providers. And in terms of competitors, we are free to choose any platform. We are free to choose any service providers such as Spire or Endurasat. So in terms of that, our hands are super free.
Thank you. Exactly 3 minutes. Thank you for the great answers. Thank you very much to Mission Space. That was their presentation and their answers. Good luck in the competition. Let's move on to the next team. The next team pitching will be Cardio-Renal. Cardio-Renal from France develops digital therapeutics solutions for chronic disease management. The initial solution targets chronic kidney disease patients. Let's listen into their pitch presentation.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to introduce Cardio-Renal, which is a digital therapeutic company focusing on chronic kidney disease patients and improving their treatment at home. Chronic kidney disease affects about 10% of the world population. There are 37 million Americans who are affected by chronic kidney disease, and this population is growing by around 5 to 6% per year. The clinical problem we're focusing on is linked to potassium imbalance, which is extremely frequent in CKD patients, especially because of the treatment they take, which can induce potassium imbalance. It has been proven in many clinical studies that if the level of blood potassium in patients leaves the normal value, which are around 4 to 5, then the risk of cardiovascular mortality is going to increase sharply, meaning that to improve the mortality risk, we need to manage potassium level for these patients. Our solution, Tenor, which is the first connected potassium meter at home, can help patients to measure their own blood potassium anytime they want, And needless to say that the values are sent to internet and are accessible at will by the treating physician so that he can adapt the drug treatment of these patients according to their clinical status. We have developed a full proprietary software applications, which are the foundation of cardiorenal solution. One is installed on the smartphone of the patient and drives the whole process of the measure and the patient engagement. And the other is in the cloud, which is accessible by the physician in order to really adapt the therapy to the real clinical status of the patient in real time. The other R&D program was the development of the disposable cartridge. Because we want the patient to be autonomous at home, we had to be able to measure the blood parameters in normally 5 macroliter of blood, which is the size of a blood drop. And we've been able to achieve that. The design is frozen right now. We have a family of patents covering the design, and we are now developing the pilot production line. Needless to say that the cartridge includes an auto-calibration method so that the patient can do the measure anywhere, everywhere, and there will be no distortion in the results. We have identified 2 companies working in the same field as us. We think they are about 2 years behind because they're only at the prototype level when we are right now doing the test for CE mark. And we are the only company compared to others that is doing quantitative measurement, which is absolutely necessary if you want to adapt the therapy of these patients. Our current team is composed of 10 employees, all PhDs, and it has been extremely important during the R&D phase to have such a profile. But we also have a board composed of clinical KOL and very experienced people in the medical device industry, which is extremely important during the current phase and the next one for the sales of the device across Europe and in the USA. Thanks to our platform approach, after the initial product tenor, we'll be able to address an immense population of patients having heart failure with Soprano, which is the 2nd generation, measuring both potassium and creatinine in a single drop of blood. Thank you very much for your attention and interest.
Thank you to Team Cardiorenal, and let's welcome on the question and answer stage Maurice Berger. Hello, Maurice.
Hello.
All right, I'm turning to my jury panel. 3 minutes are yours, and let's start with Lena.
How is it going with the CE mark process? How far have you gotten, and how long time remains, you think?
We're about 5 to 6 months away from CE mark. It's only a testing period, so there's no more technical hurdle. It's only conducting the test that we need for the CE mark.
All right, thank you. Dora, you're up next.
Hi, interesting presentation. Thank you for that. What else can you measure from the drop of blood?
Right now, we're focusing on these only 2 parameters, potassium and creatinine, because they are the most striking one for the patients that we target.
All right, next question.
Sorry.
Not Dora, please, go ahead.
Sorry, Dora.
How easy would it be to extend the technology to be able to measure more indicators?
It's pretty easy.
So, what would be the next one? I'm sorry.
So the next one would be other ions like sodium or iron, which is not an ion. Sorry. So it's pretty easy because it's a platform, but it's depending on the clinical need.
All right, thank you. Next up, Lena.
Yes, I understand the business model. This device, would that device be placed at home with a patient, or would you use one device in a whole hospital department, or how would that work, and what would be the cost of one device at the market eventually?
So the easiest way is to look at it as the one that diabetic patients are using to measure their glycemia. So it's a simple device which is placed and owned by the patients, so they can use it anywhere when they want or when they need it. And the business model is a kind of a subscription, including the device, the consumable, and the software. And the approximate monthly revenue that we target right now in the US is around $200 to $300 per month.
All right, thank you. We have 1 more minute left, so your questions are welcome. Let's turn to the sunny Stefan.
Yes. Hi, thank you for your presentation. How have you been financed this development so far?
So we've spent around 7 million euro to get to where we are now. We got 3 million from a French drug company and about 3 to 4 million from public funding and diverse concourse that we won in R&D in France.
Who is owning the company today?
It's only the management and the 2 founders, 5 people.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Maurice, for your answers. That's it in our question and answer round. Best of luck in the competition and best of luck with your business. All right, let's move on to the next team, Crystals Growing from Latvia. All I have to say about this presentation is that it's a technology for crystal growing for the X-ray industry. Let's listen to their pitch.
We are Crystals Growing company, born in commercialization reactor, Riga, Latvia. We develop technology for growing solid crystals for numbers of industries as X-ray, electronics, and optics. But in this pitch, we will only concentrate on crystal scintillators for X-ray industry for the reason of time limit for this presentation. Solid crystals, CDVO and ZNVO, are used as ionizing radiation detectors in computer tomography devices and cargo scanning systems. Only 5 companies in the world are able to produce CDVO crystals in commercial lots. Nobody can produce ZNVO crystals for commercial purposes. Growing process still not fully automated. X-ray industry is in dire need for high-end crystals by cheaper price. CDVO crystals into the X-ray devices. First of all, CDVO crystals grown in balls. After that, processed on pixels, which implements in detectors, which used for scanners for cargo inspection and medicine computer tomography devices. World market of CDVO crystal before COVID-19 pandemic was $1.17 billion annually, with annual growth rate 6%. After COVID times, according to the World Health Organization recommendation, all Western countries have planned to increase tomography equipment numbers up to 70 pieces per 1 million people. This reality will bring a sharp surge and will double demand of scintillators within the next 10 years. What is the crystals growing solution? We have modified the traditional Chokhralsky method and developed a low-temperature gradient technology together with unique LTG pooler for growing highest quality large-size crystals. On this basis, we have developed a complete technological circle for producing the modern generation of CDVO and ZNVO crystals for X-ray scanning by significantly reduced price. Our team know-how and unique software codes have transcribed into the IP our company and saved as commercial secret. Crystal growing technological circle consists from proprietary LTG Chokhralsky pooler for crystal growing, our own unique software and algorithms for managing growing process, quality control, cutting and polishing crystals according customer specification. Our competitors in CDVO production are 5 companies in the world. Depending on size and stage of processing, the world market price for CDVO crystals ranges between $8 and $45 per gram. Our export price is estimated at $3 per gram, with our significant margin. The ZNVO crystals are our new product for the X-ray industry, where we don't have any competition at present time. On this slide, you can see our crystal CDVO advantages on 2 photos. On the left, you can see crystal CDVO produced by our competitors by traditional Chokhralsky method. On the right, our crystal CDVO grown by a low-temperature gradient Chokhralsky method with less than 100 dislocation per square centimeter and superior physical characteristics. What do we have so far? Letter of intent negotiation or regular commercial load supply with first customers. Ongoing communication with potential customers and industrial partners, scanner medical, detection technology, Fujifilm Holding Corporation. Crystal Growing co-founder team has 35 years of experience in growing crystals, 62 articles, 5 patents, and more than 25 years entrepreneurial experience. We are looking for seed round investors with raising 580,000 euro to buy production facility in Riga, Latvia, with planned revenue 3.4 million and profit 2.3 million annually. Thank you for your time, and please don't hesitate to ask your questions.
Thank you, Crystals Growing. Thank you very much, and we welcome on the stage representative of the team, the man who presented their pitch, Gleb Centners. Hello, Gleb.
Hello.
All right, jury, I'm turning to you. 3 minutes are for you, and you can raise your hands, please. Who will be first? Lena?
Thanks a lot for an interesting presentation. I have one question. Have you got any external recognition for your work? Any awards or scholarships or anything like that?
We are working now regarding verification of our samples, our crystals, with potential customers and with Tennessee University, with one of the main support center for investigation scintillators and research scintillators.
Thank you. Next question from Ben.
Hi there. Thank you for that. Could you just tell me a little bit more about the revenue and profit projections? Because they look quite impressive. The profit on the revenue, I should say.
Yes, the profit is around 200 return on investment per year. 200%.
Well, that is impressive. That.
Yeah.
So can you just? I mean, sorry, I don't mean to be flippant, but could you just, in a nutshell, how the heck do you do that? What's the main driver of that level of profitability?
This method. Main drivers is our method and unique equipment. It's equipment you can't buy on the market.
Okay.
All right, Ben. Did you get your answer?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have a minute left. Please do raise your hands. Anna?
Yes, hi. Thank you for your presentation. I wanted to ask about your current capacity. So what's the speed and the customers that you can currently manage?
Sorry, a little bit. How many customers we can manage?
About the technological capacity that you currently have. And how do you plan to maybe expand that?
Now we have a small pooler, a small plant, which produces 10 kilograms per month. But expectation from our customers about 2,000 kilograms per year.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stefan?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, how would you handle the competition from Saint-Gobain, for example? It's a world-leading company with lots of assets to outcompete you.
No, Saint-Gobain doesn't have our method. They are working with traditional Drakhalsky method.
But are they interested in buying your method?
Perhaps yes, in the future. But we'll be a serious player on this market. First of all, we should show them that we can move them from the final market, from the crystal CDVO.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for your answers. That was a question and answer round for Crystals Growing. Thank you very much. Good luck. And let's see who will be the top 5 in this competition. Maybe it will be Crystals Growing, maybe not. Who knows? The jury. Let's move on to the last 2 teams presenting in our fourth and final round. By the way, on the platform, on the Deep Tech Atelier event platform, there's an alternative discussion and also questions for the teams. So maybe you should spend your time and look into those questions and answer them online. Who knows, maybe there's an investor on the other side asking that question. So check that out on the Deep Tech stage. And we are moving on to team named Silencians from Poland. Silencians aims to improve the quality of people's lives by reducing the noise emissions of vehicles, construction equipment, and household items. Let's see what they have.
Hi. Have you ever thought how many people would benefit from reducing the noise in our everyday life? Well, we have. Have a look at our innovative solution. Here you can see a speaker emitting sound and a noise meter. That's what happens if we cover the speaker with a regular plastic box. And this is what happens if we apply Silencians technology. Here the noise level than 11 decibels, but the decrease can be as high as 40 decibels. It is as if a shout was turned into a whisper. Silencions is not a sound-absorbing material. It's a specially designed periodic structure that allows controlling the way the sound propagates in the material. Because of this, our solution can be transparent or non-flammable, can be made of recycled plastic, steel, or even wood. Moreover, our structure is light and single millimeter thin. It's effective for low frequencies, it doesn't isolate heat, and even allow air permeability. All this opens up completely new possibilities for our product where the alternative solutions have a hard time. Thanks to that, we can solve the problem of excessive noise emission that affects people's health and well-being and help industrial machines and facilities meet ever stricter noise regulations. We can provide all that for a price lower than alternative solutions and guarantee much better performance at the same time. Our deal is very simple. We offer noise-reducing panels for construction, industrial machines and domestic appliances at a price ranging from $25 to $100 per square meter. Wherever there is traffic, heavy industry, any kind of noise or vibrations, we have the market. The beachhead market we decided to focus on are industrial machines. It is estimated to be roughly 1 million square meters in Switzerland only. In the next steps, we would like to enter the markets of household appliances and construction materials. After summing up all the markets and rescaling to the size of Europe, it turns out that there's a need for more than 2 billion square meters of silencion structures every year. Our business relies on direct customer acquisition in a B2B model with 2 main revenue streams, licensing and outsourcing. We expect to achieve a break-even point in 2.5 years with more than $2 million net margin half a year later. Market needs directly translate to customer acquisition. Silencions have already attracted industrial partners from all over the world. We are proud to share that we have recently received $5 million equity-free EU grants. We are now looking for $1.5 million investment to market our products. The team working on our solution consists of 10 specialists in maths, physics, and materials science, supported by the advisory board. We are Silencions, and it is our mission to bring the silence back to life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Team Silencions, and we welcome on the stage Adam Kerpish from Poland. Hello, Adam.
Hello.
All right, dear jury, 3 minutes for your disposal, and Ben is up first.
Thank you for a great presentation. Could you just very quickly take us through the regulatory processes you'll need to go through for this material to be used in different, industrial, domestic environments?
You mean regulations, right?
Exactly, yes.
So I mean, like mostly what we produce is acoustic panels that we could apply to different sectors. And I mean, for most of them, they have specific regulations. For example, they cannot be flammable and so on. And here is one of our competitive advantages, because we can choose the material we can produce the panel from. And this is different compared to other acoustic materials. And in that sense, we can better fit to regulations and better fit to the market.
All right. Thank you. Lena.
Thanks for a great presentation. I'm curious about your competition. I'm not sure, is there any other competitor out there who is using the same approach to you with this? That way you're working with materials, but with another material or something? Is there anyone that's close?
So I mean, there are some research labs working on that. However, there's a big gap between doing research on metal materials, because this is exactly what we are developing. But what we managed to do is find a way to produce this metal material in a way that it's friendly for mass production. And this is also one of the things that we bring as a novelty to the market. And this solution apparently can be produced with injection molding, for example.
All right, more than a minute left. Questions are welcome. Do raise your hand. Lena?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have another one. I wonder what kind of risks you see. Your forecast looks impressive and your team seems very capable. What are the risks or threats?
Oh, that's a great question. And apparently, last 2 years, we're struggling with one of the biggest risks, because I mean, this material, since it's material independent, it mostly acoustic properties comes from the structure, and it's very difficult to protect intellectual property of a structure. So, I mean, in the last 2 years, we managed to develop the way that includes like the way we produce the material. And this is also part of our patent that was recently filed. So I hope this risk is already gone.
All right, I guess all questions are answered. Nobody's raising their hand. Thank you, Adam, for your presentation. Thank you for the answers, and best of luck in the competition.
Thank you.
All right, last but certainly not least, a team from Denmark, Venomate Diagnostics. Venomate Diagnostics is a young medtech startup developing affordable, easy-to-use and robust diagnostics for toxifications, starting with snakebite and venoming. Let's listen to their pitch presentation.
Did you know that every 6 seconds a person is bitten by a snake? Mostly this happens in poorer regions where snakebite often means condemning a family to poverty. Our mission is to reduce this global burden of snake bites. My name is Jonas and I'm a co-founder and CEO at Venomate Diagnostics. Snakebite is a medical emergency recognized among the world's most neglected tropical diseases. Because snakebites can cause permanent damage within hours, time is of the essence. If time from bite to treatment exceeds 6 hours, the clinical burden of snakebite increases drastically. Not only does the length of hospitalization and recovery period increase, but the average envenoming worsen. Currently, the most common way to diagnose snake bites is to subjectively evaluate symptoms. This approach is very time-consuming and requires a highly skilled staff. This means that the life-saving treatment is delayed and unnecessarily many people die or become crippled for life. And this is where we come in. The Venomate Diagnostic, an affordable, user-friendly testing device that allows for accurate diagnosis of snake bites within minutes. By quickly detecting which snake bit you, the doctors can start early and correct treatment, saving both costs and, more importantly, lives. So far, we've successfully raised more than $300,000 in soft funding and partnered with snakebite and diagnostic experts in Denmark, as well as collaborating with antivenom laboratories in Brazil. But how does it work? The diagnostic is based on the same technology used in pregnancy tests. After loading a blood or wound swab sample onto the device, a color change will appear on a test line, detectable by the naked eye, telling you which snake bit you. Our flagship product will be able to detect 99% of medically relevant snake bites in Brazil. And best of all, by shortening time from bite to treatment, a single diagnostic has the potential to save up to $1,000. Venomate follows a 3-pronged revenue model. B2G, selling to governments and states with a focus on eradicating snake bites. B2B, selling and co-developing with antivenom manufacturers, allowing them to market a much stronger product with a test and a treatment. And finally, once we have a point-of-care version, Venomate will be able to enter the B2C market, selling to people in high-risk areas of snakebite. We are commercializing the diagnostic through a B2G model in Brazil, which has one central healthcare system, SUS, that covers costs related to snake bites. By selling directly to SUS, Venomate can piggyback on existing antivenom distribution networks, reaching more than 3,000 health clinics and hospitals in Brazil. We have a low COGS of $5 per test, leaving a high profit margin of up to 90%. For Brazil, we're tapping into an annual $10 million market. And upon gaining foothold and regulatory approval, we plan on expanding to selected markets in Latin America, which in turn increases our market to $20 million per year. Venomate is the only solution to bring both ease of use, affordability, reliability, while also ensuring that diagnosis leads to recommended treatment, empowering even inexperienced personnel to handle snake bites. The founding team is young, entrepreneurial, and scientifically strong, collectively bringing more than 20 years of experience within snakebite research. We are currently looking to engage with an impact-oriented investor with a long-term vision. Within the next 6 to 12 months, we'll be raising $800,000 to prepare for market entry next year, as well as further development of a point-of-care version of our test. As a last note, while I've been talking, 40 lives have changed for the worse due to snakebite. Join our mission and make an impact now. Thank you.
Thank you, Venomate Diagnostics, and we welcome on the Deep Tech stage the representative, Jonas Jørgensen. Hello.
Hey.
Excellent. 3 minutes at our disposal. Dear jury, please do raise your hands for the last round today. All right, we'll start with Lena.
Is this device CE marked, or how does the regulatory conditions proceed? Thanks for a great presentation, by the way.
Great question. So right now our beachhead market is in Latin America, Brazil, where there are a bit different regulatory standards. We will eventually, when we plan on engaging in more European-based markets or in the US even, have to also get a CE mark. Our partner, Payload Diagnostic, have supplied the technology platform itself, and what we are bringing is the ingenuity to develop specific antibodies targeting snake toxins. The platform itself have already been CE marked and thus also allows us for much quicker market entry, both in Brazil, as we can piggyback on existing technical dossiers, but also in future markets, meaning that our concept is quite scalable.
Thank you. Next up, it's Ben.
Terrific presentation, thank you. I'm going to be the cynic. You've mentioned that Brazil is a key territory. We know that the Brazilian healthcare system is currently near to collapse. Is it realistic for you to progress this project at a time when, frankly, Brazil is in the most profound health crisis?
Thanks. Really good question considering recent developments. We are on a weekly basis engaging with partners in Brazil who are also engaged in actually combating the current COVID-19 situation in Brazil. Unfortunately, the COVID situation does not stall the existing problem with snake bites. These patients are still arriving at hospitals and still requires medical attention. Through their judgment, we definitely believe it's realistic to continue ongoing as we've planned so far.
All right, and the last question today goes to Dora.
Thank you very much for this spectacular presentation. My question would be around the logistics. So how the supply chain would look like, where would you like to manufacture these tests, and what is your idea around these issues?
Thanks. We have a pending deal with our collaborators by Payload Diagnostics, who will handle manufacturing through subcontractors, mainly located in Denmark and England. These will then be shipped to Brazil through our local contact down there, a company importing and distributing these types of products to the Ministry of Health in Brazil. And then the following route will then be the Ministry of Health distributing the antivenom and the tests to markets where snakebite is handled.
Thank you. Thank you, Jonas, for your answers. That was Venomate Diagnostics. Best of luck in your business ventures. And I would like to thank the dear jury and send them off to their evaluating round. That was all the pitches for us today. Thank you, dear jury. Have a spectacular round of discussion, and we hope to see you again with 5 winners. So 5 winners will divide up our prize fund of all the goodies that I read before we started. So the jury will go off and evaluate. Best of luck to you.